Final question for you. You've said that you want the deal with AJ to be done by the end of Monday.
Monday is the deadline.
What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning, yes, yet again, Moses Itauma. Moses Itauma, knocked out Mike Balogun in 2 rounds, and he did it with clean punches, decisive punches, and explosive punching power, speed as well. However, I do want to give people an update on how I felt about that particular fight, and it concerns Ben Davison as well. And I think Ben Davison is a pretty good trainer when it comes for starters. When it comes to for fighters that are first starting in the game, but I do think that he has flaws, or I think that he has a tendency or a habit of not calling out the flaws that, these fighters make. We've just seen AJ get knocked out by Daniel Dubois. Well, what does AJ have to do with Moses Itauma? Let me show you. If you look at this clip here, okay, if you look at this clip and you see how Moses, he threw a shot, but if you see he threw the right hand, look where his left is, okay? His left is down here. Now, he was leaning over to get shot. Now, look at that. Now, if you see where his glove landed, it landed on the neck, but where was his left hand? His left hand was all the way here. If Mike Balogun, if you guys can see, right, Mike Balogun threw a right hook, okay, and it landed wide. Now, let me show you how this could have actually went very, very bad for him, okay? If you look at where that shot landed, yeah, the left hand, he hit Mike on the neck, but also Mike was able to get a counter in, and the counter landed on Moses Itauma's neck because it wasn't really turned in. Okay, that could have been bad if Mike would have turned that hook over, because they were both southpaws. So they were both throwing right hands, okay, and their right hands were their lead hands, them being southpaws. Now, all it really took was Balogun with 16 KOs, that 1 loss, now he has 2. What if he threw that punch a little shorter? That would have caught Moses Itauma. And we don't know where Moses Itauma would have been and how he would have reacted to those shots. I'll tell you this, that's dangerous, and I think it should be corrected right now. And if Ben Davison can't do that, okay, we need to find someone that can. Because the last thing we need is Moses Itauma being praised, being respected, being admired for his speed, his punching power, his head movement, but not his overall defense, because it's leaky. It is. That's leaky right there. For him to throw this shot and for his hands to be down is equivalent of the same shit that Ben Davison allowed with AJ, throwing a right hand and leaving his left down. Okay? He's just in a different stance because he's going for the gusto, rolling the dice, trying to knock out Daniel Dubois and take him down, which Daniel Dubois was able, using better fundamentals, protect himself in counter and throwing that right, because he's seen AJ was not protecting his face. He did not have his guard up, and he knew that guard was down for him to land that shot. The same thing could have happened with Balogun versus Moses here. And I'm letting people know this so we'll see this shit now. So if it happens before, they'll say, damn, Kurt, you're right. That did happen. And Ben did nothing. I don't know. I can't say he did nothing. I can't say that. I can't say he absolutely did nothing. What I'm saying is there's too many fighters on Ben Davison's roster that you see him, right, based on pad work, based on our evidence of watching him hands-on with these fighters and what he does versus what he doesn't do. Again, I use Derrick James as an example. And, for years, I didn't care for Derrick James because he was the trainer of Errol Spence, and we all wanted that fight to happen until it finally did. However, Derrick James is a guy that will put you in check when you don't do what he's instructing you or training you to do. And that's overall. You don't work on one thing without working on another thing because they all go together. You know what I mean? So we've seen Ben, and his fighters, drop their hands to throw power shots. And that's exactly what we saw here. Whenever you do that, you're leaving yourself open, and it's just potential disaster, right? So I don't really like that as much. I want to know what you guys think about it. Of course, please subscribe, like, and share. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!